Picture this. A hunter, 40,000 years ago, slips on wet rock and cuts his leg open. Today, that's a trip to urgent care and a few stitches. Back then, that small cut was a death sentence waiting to happen. No antibiotics, no sterile bandages, no real understanding of why wounds turned black and killed people days later. And yet somehow, our species survived. Not just survived, multiplied, spread across every continent on Earth, all without a single hospital, without a single doctor in the way we understand the word today. So how did they do it? How did ancient humans survive disease, infection, childbirth, and injury for hundreds of thousands of years with absolutely none of modern medicine? The answer is stranger and more resourceful than you'd expect. Long before anyone understood what a virus or bacteria even was, ancient humans were already practicing something remarkably close to medicine. Archaeologists studying Neanderthal remains in Spain found dental plaque containing traces of poplar bark, a natural source of salicylic acid, the same compound found in modern aspirin. This Neanderthal appears to have been self-medicating for pain, tens of thousands of years before the word medicine existed. Across nearly every ancient culture studied, researchers have found evidence of plant-based remedies, willow bark for pain, certain mosses and lichens for their antimicrobial properties, used not randomly, but with a level of consistency that suggests real accumulated knowledge, passed down and refined generation after generation, entirely through trial, error, and memory. Here is something that sounds almost impossible. Archaeologists have uncovered thousands of ancient skulls, some over 7,000 years old, with deliberate holes drilled, scraped, or cut into them while the person was still alive. This practice is called trepanation, and it's one of the oldest known forms of surgery on Earth. And here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. Many of these skulls show clear signs of bone healing around the edges of the hole, which means the patient didn't just survive the procedure. They lived for months, sometimes years afterward. Researchers believe ancient healers may have used trepanation to relieve pressure from head injuries, treat seizures, or in some cultures, to release what they believed were evil spirits trapped inside the skull. With no anesthesia, no antiseptic, and only sharpened stone tools, the survival rates documented in some ancient sites are still hard for modern researchers to fully explain. For most of human history, nobody knew bacteria or viruses existed. So when someone fell ill, suddenly and without warning, ancient societies needed an explanation, and the explanation they reached for was almost always spiritual. Sickness was widely believed to be a curse, a punishment from angered ancestors, or the work of a malevolent spirit that had entered the body. This belief gave rise to one of humanity's oldest professions, the shaman, part healer, part priest, part psychologist. These individuals combined real herbal knowledge with ritual, chanting, and ceremony. And remarkably, this combination often worked not because the spiritual explanation was correct, but because the ritual itself reduced stress, provided comfort, and in many documented cases triggered the placebo effect, a real, measurable biological response that modern medicine still studies today. Now here's a number that puts everything into perspective. Anthropologists studying pre-modern and hunter-gatherer societies estimate that infant and child mortality rates often exceeded 40 to 50% before the age of 5. That means for every 2 children born, roughly 1 would not survive early childhood. Average life expectancy at birth in many ancient societies hovered somewhere between 20 and 30 years old, a number heavily skewed by exactly how many children died young. If you survived past childhood, your odds improved dramatically. But the earliest years of life were, statistically, the most dangerous years a human being would ever face. Survival wasn't a guarantee. It was a daily, ongoing negotiation with a world that offered no safety net whatsoever. Without knowing germs existed, ancient humans still managed to stumble onto methods that genuinely worked. Archaeological and historical evidence shows honey was used to dress wounds across multiple ancient cultures, from Egypt to Mesopotamia. Modern science has since confirmed honey has real antibacterial properties, something ancient healers discovered purely through observation and repetition, noticing which wounds healed and which didn't. Fire was used not just for warmth, but to sterilize tools and cauterize wounds, stopping bleeding through heat alone. And fermented substances, early forms of alcohol, were sometimes used to clean injuries, accidentally killing bacteria they couldn't see and didn't know existed. None of this came from understanding microbiology. It came from thousands of years of pure trial and error, with the discoveries that worked simply surviving, passed down, while the ones that didn't quietly disappeared. But perhaps the single most powerful form of medicine ancient humans had wasn't a plant, a ritual, or a tool. It was each other. Archaeological evidence shows ancient humans regularly cared for sick, injured, and elderly members of their group, sometimes for years, even when that person could no longer contribute food or labor. Skeletons have been found showing severe injuries, blindness, or paralysis, with clear evidence the individuals survived long afterward, meaning someone fed them, protected them, and kept them alive. This wasn't an accident or a rare act of kindness. Researchers believe this kind of communal care was a defining survival strategy of our species, one that allowed humans to recover from injuries and illnesses that would have been an automatic death sentence for an animal living entirely alone. So how did ancient humans survive without medicine the way we understand it today? The truth is, they didn't survive because the world was gentler or because their bodies were simply tougher than ours. They survived through an extraordinary combination of plant knowledge passed down across generations, accidental discoveries that actually worked, an immune system shaped relentlessly by exposure and adaptation, and above all, a willingness to care for one another even when it offered no immediate reward. Modern medicine has given us extraordinary tools our ancestors never had, but the instincts behind it, to treat, to comfort, to refuse to let each other die alone, those instincts are far older than medicine itself. They're the same instincts that kept our species alive long before anyone understood why any of it worked.